Morning. Um, Moving on now to the next lesson, lesson 3 of vegetable, fruit, eggs, and farinaceous. Okay. So we've looked at eggs, we've done omelette, we've done a baked frittata, Italian style omelette. So we got a bit of a good feel for how we need to treat eggs and what we can do with them. Okay. Very versatile, as we've explained, and really cheap and cost effective. We're going to go on to vegetables today. We're going to do 2 vegetable dishes. First one is very common, and you'll hear it mentioned quite a lot. It's called ratatouille or ratatouille, depending on what part of the world you come from and how you choose to pronounce it. Okay, so it's basically a vegetable stew. Okay, and it incorporates a lot of the Mediterranean vegetables that we're familiar with: onion and garlic. You've got the 3 different capsicum colours represented, some zucchini and some eggplant. Okay, then that's the basic ratatouille. You could extend that if you wish. You could add some snow peas in at the end. You could add some mushrooms, and you can create a bigger dish with it if you wish. Okay, we're just going to do a basic type for today. Now, the most important thing about this is the colour. Okay, we don't want grey, washy-looking vegetables. We're looking for nice, vibrant, al dente, nicely seasoned. Okay. The first thing I do is put my pan on. I'm going to use some olive oil, okay? It's a very Mediterranean style dish. I'm going to put a decent amount because I've got a lot of vegetables there and they'll start absorbing that oil straight away. Now the one thing I've done is with the eggplant, I've salted it, okay? So I added some salt in it for a couple of hours and then washed that off. What that does, it takes the bitterness of the eggplant out, okay? Because it can be quite bitter and we don't really want that, alright? So again, with this, I'm going to have my onions and garlic first. What we don't want is brown vegetables, okay? So we're going to sweat them. And we know sweating means to cook without colour, okay? So that's what we're going to try and do today. Okay? So again, we get that lovely onion garlic smell coming through. Okay? It's not too hot.
So you could use a non-stick pan or cast iron pan, whatever
yes,
you want to do.
You could, absolutely. Absolutely.
Whatever they've got at home.
Whatever you essentially saute vegetables, okay? So whatever sort of pan you have, it's not really that important. Just the biggest thing that it's the right size to take the quantity that you have, okay? Okay, next I'll add in my green capsicums for no reason other than it's closer to me. My red. As you can see the size, I've cut them for about 5 centimetre, a little bit bigger dice, okay? So like a massive one as you would have done in your early methods class, okay? But ultimately you can change that, you can have it as big or as small as you wish, depending on what you're going to do with it. So ratatouille can be served on its own, as a standalone vegetable, like perfect for a side of vegetables. You can serve it on a buffet as a vegetable dish, or like a carvery. Or it can be used in preparation to make like a vegetable lasagna. Okay, so we can cook that down and we can make a vegetarian lasagna using some either lasagna sheets or even grilled eggplant. Okay, so it's quite versatile. Okay, now I'm going to season. Always remember that seasoning. Ground pepper, get a beautiful aroma. Sea salt. Okay, now I'm starting to get the flavours, the onions, the garlic, the capsicum, that real Mediterranean flavour coming through. Okay, now I'm going to add my eggplant. Now at this point, just got to watch if you don't start getting colour. Okay.
What are you looking for here in the pan, Cormac?
What I'm looking for is even colour, even cooking, okay? I don't want to have one vegetable too crunchy and one vegetable soft. So particularly with the eggplant and the zucchini, I don't want to have it soft, okay? Because it's unpleasant in the mouth. So we're looking for that even texture, okay? Now, as you can see, I've got some fresh tomato concasse, or concasse, depending where you go from, what way you want to pronounce it. I add that last, and why do I add that last? It's because it's a very soft vegetable, it's very high in water content, and it can go mushy very quickly. So it's doing two things to my dish. It's sort of adding that saucy texture, and also as a vegetable on its own as well. Now here I've got some tomato puree, which I'm going to put in just for a bit of moisture.
So that eggplant will just soak up a lot of that oil or those juices in there, will it?
Right. So the reason I put that in third, because the onions, the olive oil and the capsicum, they'll start releasing some natural juices, and then when we add in the eggplant, that will start to absorb them. So those flavours now will really start to come together. So you have a look there, look at that beautiful colour. Isn't that fantastic?
Just zoom in on that a bit.
Okay. Very Mediterranean, okay? So you can see there now all the colours starting to come together. I can see a coating on all the vegetables. I can see that eggplant getting nicely coated. And I still have no browning in there.
Really smell it now, actually.
You can really smell it, absolutely. You just keep your pan moving, okay? Now at this point, I will add in my fresh tomato.
So that's no seeds, no skin.
That's tomato concasse. So we've skinned the tomato, we've quartered it, take the flesh out, or take the seeds out and just dice the flesh, okay? A very popular preparation will be used in a lot of dishes and a lot of units, okay? It's one of those skills that you will need to have, okay? So now I'm just moving it around, okay? So I don't want to cook that tomato too much, but I still need a bit more for the capsicums. Now, herbs-wise and flavour-wise, I've got some basil, okay? Fresh basil, as always, used quite highly in Mediterranean style cooking, okay? We just roll them up, and we just do our shipping out again. Okay, so again with herbs, last minute or as late as possible, so they don't go black, they keep their nice vibrant colour, okay? So at this stage I'll have a little taste so I can check my seasoning. That can do with a wee bit more. Now I just tasted there the zucchini. So that's absolutely perfect. So that tells me that it's just about ready. Okay. Now we can leave it. We can leave it at that if we wish. Okay. And that's your basic preparation. Or we can add a little bit of tomato puree, which is what I'm choosing to do today. Okay.
So what are you doing that for? What's that going to do, Cormac?
Because I'm possibly going to use this to make a lasagna, a vegetarian or a vegetable lasagna. So I want to have that little bit of sauciness to it. Okay. But that's an option, so you don't have to do that. Okay? And I didn't put too much in, as you can see. So I don't have a salty mess now all of a sudden. I still have I have the integrity of the vegetable, and the colour, and the texture.
So it is, like you said, very, very versatile. Salads, a base foundation for sauces or different dishes.
And in a restaurant situation, that'd be what we call a mise en place. So you could be in your fridge as a mise en place, and you can adapt it to whatever you want to do. Okay? Now I'm going to add my herbs at the last minute, just keeping that colour. I'm going to warm my plate. There's hot food and hot plates. As you know. One more final little turn.
So that skill there, that comes with a bit of time, doesn't it, to be able to toss that, whether it's a pasta or a vegetable, just practice.
Using this was called a sauteuse pan, so it's got a curved edge. Alright, so you just push it to the back and bring it to the front, okay? You don't flip it up and down. It's not something you have to worry about having to do it. It's a natural skill you'll pick up as you go through your training, okay? So just keep it moving, that's really all we're doing, okay? You can use a spoon, it's no big issue, just keep it moving with the spoon, okay? You don't want to have ratatouille all over your kitchen floor, your mother will kill you. Okay? Alright, so that's just about there now. My fresh tomato that went in pretty much second last, I can still taste the tomato in it without going mushy, okay? So I'll turn my heat off. I'll just get rid of that. Okay. I'm going to serve it.
So I can certainly see that you've maintained all those colours in there.
So I don't have mushy vegetables. I don't have sloppy. I don't have brown, burnt salt. Do you know what I mean? It's all nice and fresh.
So again, like with your omelette, I guess earlier, in an earlier session, you just controlled that heat.
That's right.
Through that cooking process.
That's it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a tiny little few flakes of that. I'm going to put a little bit of, it doesn't really need it, but I'll just put it on there for more aroma than anything else. Okay, nice fresh basil. A little bit of EVO. Okay.
So that would be just a nice vegetarian dish, wouldn't it?
Well, if you were in a restaurant and you got that as a vegetarian entree, you'd be pretty happy with that. So ratatouille, call it how you will. That's it there. Thank you. Good morning. Next dish on our vegetables, fruit, eggs, and farinaceous unit. So we've done our eggs. We have done ratatouille, so vegetables. So we're doing another vegetable dish. Now this dish is a very simple dish, and it is also on your assessment. Okay, so we need to have a little look at this one a bit clearer. Okay, there's some basic little rules and techniques that we need to understand. Other than that, it's not too bad. So we're using green beans. Okay, now green beans will vary in size depending on where they come from and so on, but generally they're usually quite long. Now that's a bit awkward to serve somebody. So if that was on somebody's plate, it's a little bit awkward. So we are just going to cut them down. Now we will leave. You've got two ends. You've got one end where it connects to the plant. And when you buy it, it'll have a little stringy bit on there, okay? So you just trim that off, all right? We like to leave that little bit of tail on there. It gives it a little bit of texture and a bit of integrity to the vegetable, okay? So we'll do that. So we're going to blanch, okay? I've got my boiling water on here. I'm just going to add some salt, okay? Always remember you've got salt in your water, all right? Now, traditionally in France, this dish should be called green beans amandine. Okay, amandine meaning to serve with almonds or include almonds. Okay, so we got some flaked almonds there. Okay, very straightforward. I've got some butter, salted butter. You could use unsalted. Personally, I like salted because it's just got that extra little bit of flavour. I'm just going to put a fraction of olive oil. All right, that's all I need there. So what I'm going to do here. Now this dish I'm going to cook and serve straight away. Now with green beans you could actually keep them en place, alright? So whether you're doing it for this dish or for any other dish. Now the rule of thumb is vegetables grown above the ground is cooked in boiling salted water. Vegetables growing below the ground cooked in cold salted water. Why? Because vegetables below the ground are more generally tough, fibrous and more starchy. So they need that more cooking. So the water, cold water coming up to temperature will cook them out a bit more. Okay? Green vegetables, broccoli, green beans, snow peas, any of those, they need very little cooking. Okay? Generally they need very little cooking. It's in, and then we refresh them in ice water to keep that colour. But in this instance, I'm going to serve it straight away, so I don't need to do that. Okay? So I've got my butter and my oil on, getting nice and frothy. Just going to pull it aside a little bit while we do the beans. So there are my beans. So put them all facing in one direction. That's not the name of the band. All right.
Not bad, Cormac.
Put them all in one direction. Okay, like that. I'm just going to cut them in half. Straightforward. All right. Nothing too complicated. Now back in my bowl and into my boiling salted water. That's going to take about a minute, not a lot more. Meanwhile, with my butter, I'll take my almonds, okay? Or almonds, as some people say, but they come from Ireland, called almonds. Okay. So what I'm looking for here is a nice nut brown, as you can see. See that nut brown? It's beautiful. The butter's frothing, yeah? Gorgeous. The almonds, then the oil in the almond will start coming out, okay? So you've got to be careful that it'll go from lovely to not so lovely very quickly. It'll burn on you, okay? Look at that. That's awesome.
Yeah, it is nice and frothy.
That's just what we're after, okay? It's a nice quick dish, so hot food, hot place. And bowl in. So if you can have a look here, alright, you can see that nice green colour. So in your assessment, when you're serving this, that's what we're after. We're looking for a nice green and a bit of crunch, al dente.
Yeah, al dente.
Okay? We're not looking for grey or overcooked beans. There's nothing worse. Okay, my almonds now are, look at that. Awesome.
Yeah.
Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take half a lemon.
So what's that going to do in there, Chef?
It'll stop the almonds cooking any further, and it'll give it a bit of acidity. Okay, nice bit of, so you got the acidity with the butter and with the beans. Okay. Just strain my beans off.
So that key, remembering, is to have that water boiling, right? Often I see people that it's not quite boiling, and then they go for it with the green veg in, but it actually has to be 100% boiling.
It has to hit the water boiling, and then what happens is the vegetable just sort of stops straight away, and the chlorophyll in the vegetable keeps that nice brightness. Okay. Now, I'm going to just a little bit of sea salt in the colander. Okay. So again, this could be a standalone vegetable, but ideally it would be served as an accompaniment. Okay. Again, it'd be lovely on a little buffet, like a carvery.
Could you have those beans, if you're doing this at home or in a restaurant, have those beans ready and just do a quick finish?
Absolutely.
On
So mise en place, you would have them cooked, and so what I would have done just then is I would have plunged them into ice water.
Yep.
And that would have just retained that lovely colour, and that would be en place. And then the chef would call away and say, one portion of beans away. Then you would possibly do the almonds to order, and you would reheat your green beans in what's called a chauffe, okay? And then you'd have it hot, and then we'd just finish it. Okay? All right, so that's nice nut brown now. So just spoon that over. Okay, so what we're looking for is the nuttiness. I can even smell the nuttiness in the butter. The almonds, okay? All right.
Really smell that. Smells really, really yummy.
And there you go. Very straightforward. So nice green is what I'm after. Nice al dente, nicely seasoned, and an even colour on your almonds. Okay, so green beans amandine or green beans with buttered almonds.